The Wrestlemania conscious channel where we slam dunk the analysis in these wrestling streets and we do things a bit niche here. If you want to get deep down and dirty into wrestling, here we are. So we're looking at the feud between Gunther and Jey Uso, and it's not looking good. We've got about over 40 days, we've got nearly like 5-6 weeks, and I don't know what's happening. And this feud has been going on for a couple of weeks, or probably a month, and I'm feeling nothing. It's dry as is the Sahara Desert. And I do love Jey Uso, and I want him to do well. And I do like Gunther, and I want them to do well. But this is struggling, man. This is struggling. And this is the show where we're going to get into it.
Listen!
About 5-6 weeks away of WrestleMania, this hype of the Yeet has fizzled out so quickly. WrestleMania is supposed to be the most exciting time of the year, but tell me, why doesn't Gunther and Jey Uso feel like a big deal? WWE had the opportunity to make this feud a must-see TV feud. It's for the World Championship. People might call it the paper championship, the second championship, but it's supposed to be the important championship. And it just feels like probably the US championship, or even the European championship, who knows. It just feels forced, uninspired, and eventful. This feud could have potential. WWE has dropped the ball, and let's look about how they could make it better. Now, both of them are used to be IC champions. Now, technically, we know that Gunther is a superior in-ring wrestler or technician compared to, bear with my voice, compared to Jey Uso. But what makes Jey Uso so special? He is the underdog. A bit like the Sami Zayn character, and he's beloved by the fans, and that could, wrestling life could overturn a lot of logic. But Gunther did have a historic IC title run, and Jey Uso had a tag team title run, but he's coming up having a good solo run too. And we need to capitalize off that. He broke free from the bloodline, he had real momentum feuding with Roman Reigns, and the fans really want him to be a single star. So I think this is the perfect time of WrestleMania of a very good, feel good emotion. Everyone's happy for Jey to win because he definitely deserved it, being in wrestling for 14-15 years, busting his ass with his brother, and now he's breaking out. So I'm a fan. I'm invested. But the thing is, there's no real story between them apart from, it feels like Sami Zayn versus Gunther all over again. I doubt myself. No one says I can beat Gunther. No one feels like I can beat Gunther. But eventually they beat Gunther. But what happens afterwards? They haven't done anything to even show that, Jey Uso could be, even in kayfabe, a little bit evenly matched and has potential to beat Gunther by himself. They're making Jey look weak, an opportunist, and a fluke winner. Jey just won, Royal Rumble, which is hard to do, even in kayfabe. But apart from that, there's no personal stakes. WrestleMania with the payoff, things have to get personal. Listen, Gunther has the whole bloodline there to mess with. Gunther could mess with Roman Reigns, it could mess with even his brother, Jimmy Uso. He could mess with all these people. But to make it more personal, or even mess with Sami Zayn because he's an honorary Us, right? There's no personal stakes. There's no tension. Jey Uso just acts like he's just a normal challenger, a weak challenger, an undercard challenger, towards Gunther. And that's really it makes it all bland. Now, I keep on saying, the feud feels really flat. There's no real conflict. What did Gunther do? Gunther was using alpha babes or alpha whatever you want to call them as exhibition fights or whatever. He could have jobbed out to or get Grayson Waller. I know, or even Austin Theory or Drew McIntyre. Like it just feels like Gunther hadn't had any worthy challengers. You know, what is happening? Jey Uso doesn't feel like he's had even any worthy challengers to make sure that they build in these feuds and feeling that they're both strong on each side. It just feels very one-sided. Yes, we want Jey to be the underdog, but not so much where it's like hardly up to belief. The lack of story progression throughout the week since Jey won the Royal Rumble. Now we know Jey's quite limited when he does his promos, but we forgive him. Let him have the yeet. The crowd is on his side, but there's no heated moments. There's no real promos where you feel like it could go either way, and like yeah, I really want Jey to win, not because we're just gonna give it to him as a participant trophy, but we really want him to earn it. And it just seems like as the heel, I know the heel always sometimes need to get there, one over the babyface, but it just seems like Gunther is, even at this stage, so far away from WrestleMania. Gunther is always having the one up on Jey Uso, which is not cool. But that just feels like that could happen any time of the year. It doesn't feel as special towards WrestleMania, but there's so much scope for possibilities and new stars and new things. WrestleMania should feel really special. It should feel like a huge moment, but it just feels like a regular PLE throwaway match on Backlash or something. It doesn't feel like, what is the payoff? What is going to happen? So we all know that Gunther doubts anyone who comes to him in the ring because he is a ring general. And we all know that Jey has to prove himself in big matches before Gunther. He should have good matches. I would even say, I'm putting it out there, Jey Uso should beat someone like Randy Orton. Something like that. Something like that on a Drew McIntyre. I think he probably has, I can't remember. A Seth Rollins or something like that. They should job out to Jey Uso. They should. So Jey Uso looks stronger and decent. And have that journey to make Jey a legitimate threat. And that's what is missing. You're not making him a legitimate threat, like a proper fighter. He just feels like an entertainer. It feels like an R-Truth jucking and jiving. And that's not what we want. If he's a big ass Samoan and legitimate fighter, you should be fighting and not eating all the time. Okay? Give something, raise the stakes, give something for Jey to prove, make it personal. I keep on saying it's just like, okay, so he wins the title, now what? Why didn't Thingy beat up Jim? Big Jim? Why, that Jey brings his kid sometimes to wrestling. Why can't you do something with the kid? Or Gunther goes to look for his kid. And Jey's like, if you ever touch my kid again, it has to be personal. Instead of Jey wins a match to a jobber, it has to have a longer journey. Jey needs to go through more tougher opponents to make him a legitimate threat. This is the World Championship. Even though it is the paper championship and it's the second most important championship under the Cody belt. So make it count. Or legitimately, they should steal the show. Because the way how The Rock and the Cody storyline is going on, I don't know how good that is. Jey needs an air of seriousness and prove that he's not a tag guy or he's not just some little sick little underdog, lovable underdog. It should feel like a WrestleMania level match, but instead of some random PLE card. Why do you think, let me know in the comments, that WWE has failed this feud? How would you book differently? Now, it has to be must-see TV. And you know what doesn't help? the overuse of security guards, and the producers breaking up fights. It's too much. Nearly every week we see security guards and stuff like that, and I think we've seen that before. It's just the same. It's just the same. What is the real conflict between Jey Uso and Gunther? Once we nail that down, apart from Jey being the underdog, there needs to be more layers, more onions for this. Obviously, Jey has to prove himself, and there needs to be an extra layer of personal. Jey beating up his family. Gunther beating up his family. Gunther being more mind control, making him doubt himself even more. I just feel it's just, and even when they do every segment, so like today on Raw, not today, today's Tuesday, but yesterday on Raw, I watched it today because I'm in the UK. When Gunther put the sleeper hold on Jey, I'm like, what's the point? What's the point you show me? I just feel like Jey can't come back from this. You should have attempted to do it, but not make him sleep. No, it's too much. He looks weak as F. It's supposed to be one of the biggest matches. If this is the World Heavyweight Championship, it should really close night one, shouldn't it? But it doesn't feel like it's nowhere close. I don't think it can even open WrestleMania, to be honest. Jey should fight to prove that he belongs, and this is not happening. Jey doesn't have a real journey to go through legitimate threats and superstars to build him up to be a strong competitor. It does not feel like a WrestleMania level match. It feels like someone else should be in Jey's spot, and that's what's happening. It's just very frustrating because it could be good. I'm not saying it could be great. I'm saying it could be good. Gunther could do some really fire promos and really extend his range as a heel by being more cunning and conniving, because he's got so much weeks to prove so. Show that it's not the ring general, but a cerebral, I'm going to say cerebral assassin, but that's Triple H, but just like cerebral as well. I feel that there needs to be, so if you think with Gunther should be more cerebral in his methods of destroying Jey, and Jey should have more brawn, when I mean brawn, more like get more tougher and show a little bit of a mean streak to show that he is not to be played with. He is not one of the ones, and he will eat all over your blood clot. So that's what should be happening. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope they fix it. They still have time to turn things around, and I really feel that they could turn things around. Fingers crossed, because Jey does need a good, decent feud. And if he does win the championship, who's he gonna face? Who? It's very, very limited. Just give it to AJ Styles or something, man. Just give it to AJ Styles. Alright then. I hope this helps. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate if you do. Alright. This is a Wrestling Content channel.